Much has been said about the combination between the shortstop and the second baseman, because they are the bases that execute one of the most electrifying plays in the game, the double play. But combining a good third baseman with a good shortstop is something that is not seen too often, and when it happens it's inevitable to watch that side of the infield. Is it because they must be the best defenders in the game? In any case, these are the 5 best combinations of shortstop and third baseman in MLB history. Number 5, Edgar Renteria and Scott Rowland. Since Scott Rowland stepped into the big top, he said what he was going to be, winning the Rookie of the Year award at 22 years of age, with a very good baseball career where he played for 17 years in 4 different organizations. The team from Renteria with Rowland played for the St. Louis Cardinals, from 2002 to 2004, winning both Gold Gloves consecutively. Showing that nothing would happen on that side of the diamond, Renteria, who was with the Cardinals since 1999, went to the Red Sox in 2005. Giving him end to this combination that only lasted 3 years. In that short time they managed to obtain between the two of them 5 Gold Gloves and 3 Silver Bats, to be recognized in the National League in that period as the best combination of the midfield. Edgar, who won the Silver Bat in 2003, established a personal best of 194 hits and 47 doubles, a record in doubles for shortstops belonging to San Luis. Also, his Gold Glove award gave him a feat in this organization as the first shortstop in winning Gold Gloves and Silver Bats in consecutive years. On the other hand, it is Rowland that belonged to the Phillies in 2002. Precisely on September 25th, he signed an 8-year extension and $90 million with the Cardinals, where he won 4 gloves, gold, and 3 in a row. The 2004 season was one of the best for Rowland. For much of the season he led the league in RBIs despite being injured. At the end of the campaign he finished 4th in the voting for the MVP. Number 4, Ernie Banks and Ron Santo. The combination of third base and shortstop that lasted the longest of all of this top 12 years as partners in the Chicago club. Ernie Banks, the shortstop with the most home runs of all time and for some the most offensive shortstop in history, spent his entire career with the Cubs, 19 years in total, winner of 2 MVP and a Gold Glove, called to the All-Star game 14 times. They called him Mr. Cub for a reason. His home run average was 33 per season, twice leading home runs and leading RBIs. For a player who started playing baseball professional in 1950 in the Negro Leagues and serving in the U.S. Army for 2 years to return to professional baseball and then become the main attraction for the Cubs, he has his well-deserved position in Cooperstown. Ron Santo came to the Cubs in 1967, years later, already with an Ernie Banks being the central figure of the Cubs. For Santo, who was a rookie at the time, it was not thought that he was going to stand out. But his defense spoke for him, having the record of highest assist for a third baseman of 393 in 1970, a record that Mike Schmidt would break in 1974 with 404. His defense in the hot corner was impeccable, executing 395 plays for double play, leading the league in these plays 6 times. With such a good defense he won 5 times consecutively the Gold Glove, although he struggled with diabetes since he was a teenager. Ron Santo and Ernie Banks are remembered by the Chicago Cubs as the best players in their position. Number 3, Mike Schmidt and Larry Bowa. One of the most striking couples in this sport in the 70s, lasting 10 years as the official players of these positions. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Bowa made his debut in the Phillies in 1970 and Schmidt did it in 1972. The players were held together until 1981 when Bowa moved on to the Chicago Cubs. In this time he will provide solid reliability in the infield. How the duo won 8 Gold Gloves, 6 for Mike Schmidt, and 2 for Larry Bowa. In Schmidt's case, everyone agrees that was the best third baseman of all time, combining his hitting power with his magnificent defense. With 548 home runs and 10 Gold Gloves, the title of the greatest cannot be doubted. For this reason he was inducted to Cooperstown in 1995 with 96.5% of the vote. Larry Bowa is not a member of the Hall of Fame, but he is remembered for his great defense despite only winning 2 Gold Gloves in his entire career. He led the National League in fielding percentage 6 times, is also and among the leaders of assists and double plays, but one of the most striking records was his fielding percentage of 1979, which was 991, a record that Tony Fernandez broke, and in 1989, perhaps Boa was not as outstanding a player as Schmidt at offensive level, but at the defensive level it was between the best, and for anyone who hit a grounder from this angle of the infield, they already knew it was a safe out to first or double play. Number 2, Robinson and Luis Aparicio. The Baltimore Orioles was the organization that, together with these two great players, where they lasted 5 seasons as a combination. Robinson, who played his entire career with the Orioles, won 16 Gold Gloves at third base, a feat that had no way of being equaled or surpassed, until Greg Maddux won 18 of these awards. He still stands as the position player with the most Gold Gloves, and before the arrival of Carl Ripken Jr. He was considered the best baseball player in this franchise. In this time that he played with Aparicio, he was MVP, 5 Gold Gloves and 5 times All-Star. Although he was not a 500 home run player, he had 2,848 hits. The incredible thing is that he never struck out more than 100 times in those 23 years of play. Due to his magnificent defense, he was nicknamed a human vacuum cleaner, winning 2 World Series titles in Baltimore. The Luis Aparicio thing, many know that if it was not the best to be these of that time, it was very, very close to being. During his time with the Orioles, he won 2 Gold Gloves, and was twice the leader in stealing bases. He also won the 1966 World Series. It is said that by that stage, they were one of the best defensive infield. It's not bad to say it with a shortstop who won 9 Gold Gloves and a third baseman with 16 in his entire career. This comment is not so wrong. Both belong to the Hall of Fame, and my opinion is the second best combination of shortstop and third baseman in history. Number 1, Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. It is not surprising because many know the quality of players that were Rod and Derek Jeter. They were widely the most successful couple on this list. 10 years in total they played for the New York Yankees. Jeter in those 10 years managed to win 5 Gloves Gold. Although these awards as best defender were questioned by critics, the Yankees' number 2 was not as bad a defender as they wanted to sell him. Where he was never questioned, and I think many will share my opinion, was with his bat, and it is that Derek Jeter is perhaps the shortstop that had the most contact batting in the history of the major leagues. His statistics are there: 310 for life and 3,465 hits, the shortstop with the most hits in MLB, and perhaps the best at this position. Alex Rodriguez doesn't enter the conversation of the best third baseman, but he does enter the conversation of the best players in history. Alex didn't win Gold Gloves by making the switch to the hot corner, but that doesn't mean that he was a bad defender or in this position. To make a brief example, if we put Manny Machado with Alex Rodriguez, the advantage is not that great, and Machado has won 2 Gold Gloves at third base. We owe Alex's lack of awards to 3 players: Evan Longoria, Eric Chavez, and Adrian Beltre. This did not detract from his defense. And not to mention the offense, I will only remind you that he won 2 in MVP and 3 silver bats for the Yankees. When you add Derek Jeter, you get the best combination of shortstop and third base in the history of the major leagues. If you came to you, it's because you liked the video, so don't forget to subscribe, leave me your like, and share it on all your networks. Remember that this is Baseball Party Superscript 2, and see you in the next video.